Hello, I am excited for today. We have a guest, Aakruti Sheth. She has been a client of mine. She's a phenomenal human being. And I want to share her story or have her share her story of persistence, creating the life of her dreams. When we met, she was working in a job and now she is pursuing her dreams and passions and multiple businesses. And I want her to share her story to inspire you. So you want to stick around.
The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Rat Race Reboot. I'm your host, Laura Noel. And as a certified coach and former 27-year military leader, each week I provide bite-sized mindset pivots that will help you reset your mind, reawaken your spirit, and regain your control.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rat Race Reboot. I'm so excited to welcome Aakruti to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Laura.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here. So from the intro, Aakruti and I had worked together and I was coaching her, and she's an incredible human being, and we reconnected just recently. And so I'm really excited for you to be on the show to kind of share with the audience and our listeners your journey to inspire them. And so I want to read a little bit of your bio. And for those of you listening who might come back to the show notes, of course, this bio will be here. But Aakruti is a virtual fashion stylist, and she helps entrepreneurs express their unique personality by styling their wardrobe. And she does this online, and that's a business that she's created for herself. So Aakruti, we're going to talk more about this, and I'm going to have all of your links in the show notes so that people can find you. But why don't we start out by you just sharing your journey, kind of like, let's go back in time a little bit when we first met. Where were you in your life and your mindset then, and where are you now? How did you get to this space?
Absolutely. So, at the time when we met, Laura, I was working a 9-to-5 corporate job. And, a few years back before then, I was speaking with, one of a member of, one of the spas I went to, and I noticed a solution to a problem. And, I only came up with the solution a few years later. I just kind of kept thinking about it for years. And then I finally, I constructed something out of cardboard. I took it to a patent attorney and I knew I had something. I think I even put it together with duct tape. So, it's a tool for, salon workers that will, improve, the salon experience and help customize it. And, I started out with market research. To me, that's always an extremely important step in any business. So, we always want to make sure that, there's a desire, there's a need, for the solution that I'm looking for. And sometimes, people don't know about a solution, so they never talk about the problem. And what I did was for a customer standpoint, I posted an online poll, and I saw that around 70% of people were interested in this idea and they thought it was a great idea. And then, what I also did was I wanted to make sure there was an interest with people who work in salons and spas, whether that be the salon owner, hairstylists and whatnot. And I must have visited a couple years after that and even cold called probably around 100 salons. Wow. And I dropped off surveys. I picked them up. I wanted to know just basic information about them and, if they think that this is a tool that they will need. And, the responses were really great. I think there was around like over 50 people, salon workers really wanted to, they say that they would purchase this or that they would use it. And I think that was around out of the 70 surveys.
Wow.
I was very pleased. I was very surprised. And then, after that, I kind of moved forward with, adjusting the invention. And, I hired a computer aided design freelancer for that. I had the design drawn on paper, but I needed to make that digital so that I can start printing it out on 3D printers, which I did do. And then I demoed it to a few salons. I'm still on final adjustments now. Last year, I filed a provisional patent on this invention. And I worked with a university, and they helped me come up with a marketing plan. Ugh. And they did such an amazing job. I spoke with a couple marketing experts, financial advisors, to kind of help me get on, the right track. And, as of right now, I'm still conducting a couple more focus groups. Mm-hmm. And, my goal is to launch this year. So it's a very exciting time. But, backtracking a little bit, as I was working some of these 9-to-5 jobs, I really had to, I realized my passion for, creating and the arts in general. And then, with, the state of everything within the last couple of years, I finally did quit my job. And, I was looking into virtual fashion styling. And I thought it was a really, really neat concept. And, when I was a kid, I've always had a knack for fashion, and, I have my mom to thank for this, because she always allowed me to have my own personal style. And, I've had such a strong interest, ever since. And, I took a fashion course in high school. I would make some of my own clothes. I would wear them. I have my friends and family, always asking me for advice on, what to wear. And, there was always a part of me, that wanted to become a buyer. But, instead of switching jobs and industries, like I have throughout my career, I was thinking, why don't I just start my own company instead? And, everything in the world is so different now. Instead of going, people shop online instead of going into the stores to save time. So, and, I love helping leaders and entrepreneurs, express their personality, by adding that unique element, to their outfits. And, my services basically choose outfits for you, so you can shop from the convenience of, your phone or your laptop. And, I break that down with 3 simple steps. Once you, purchase which package, that you prefer, it'll prompt you to answer a few questions so I can find the perfect outfit for you. And then, I go through questions about, your budget, style, occasion, and measurements. And, there is a list of questions, but it's not time consuming to quickly check mark them off, and then I get to work and, I look at some of your favorite stores or stores that you have not considered yet, but fall within your budget or style. And then, I put all of this together on a virtual style board. So, you can see an image of your outfit and you'll be able to click on each article of clothing and, make your purchase.
I love that. And I want to backtrack a little bit because there are a few things that I wanted to touch on, because I'm so happy for you and I'm so thrilled for you and what you're doing and the freedom that you're creating. And you sound so in alignment with who you are. And when you're in alignment with who you are, that energy just extends to everyone you're dealing with and exchanging with. So, but I want to go back, and just kind of touch on a few things that will help listeners understand sort of the process you went through, because we talk about this quite a bit in Rat Race Reboot, and it's all about getting out of the rat race. It doesn't mean that you have to leave your job. You can find freedom wherever you are. But for some people, that is taking a step and creating something from scratch and becoming an entrepreneur. And either track is okay. But what I love about your story is that, you've been working on this. You had an idea for a solution to a problem. And I always tell people to listen to their intuition. It's guiding you in the direction where you need to go. And so you had this idea, and most of the time, people, when they have an idea, oh, that's outlandish. How would I do that? And they abandon the idea. But you didn't. You listened to your intuition and you allowed it to guide you. You built the thing with cardboard and duct tape. And then that was your first step. And then you were kind of doing some marketing research. Let me get a sanity check on this. And then you were guided to find somebody who can create that. You drew it out. And now you're about to release it, and it's going to help so many people. So I'm so excited. We're being vague on purpose because when it's ready to be released, you'll know it and you'll share the word. But this has been a journey, and we talk about one, following your intuition, having a goal with a burning desire to achieve it. Because if you don't have that burning desire, when you get thrown obstacles your way, or you don't have time, or your job's taking too much of your time, it's easy to get thrown off track. So the steps to persistence is having a goal with that burning desire for its fulfillment, having a plan, a path for its achievement. So by following your intuition, you're not going to know all of the steps initially, but you allowed yourself to be guided step by step. And then it took you to the next level. And now you're at this other stage in your life where you're creating kind of multiple streams of income and different aspects of your business in the beauty industry. So there's different elements of the beauty industry, which you're kind of capitalizing on and really tapping into those creative abilities within you. So I wanted to kind of take a step back and show people that it starts with your curiosity. When you have that kind of, hey, I should do this, or why isn't there a solution to this? That's your intuition guiding you. Follow it. So many people are looking for their purpose and their path, and this is how it starts. So thank you for sharing that journey with us so we can kind of dissect it and share it with our audience.
Yeah, of course. I think I always like to be positive and, everything that I do. And, sometimes even when you get, the feedback you're not looking for, I always use it as an opportunity to make adjustments and improvements. I never see something negative as a negative thing. So I think having that positive mindset, and I think having people who support you and making sure you're around positive people, that's what really helped me move forward, and I do love, like you said, I did definitely followed my curiosity, and I was obsessed with this invention idea, and I couldn't let go of it. And, I think, something that I've also learned with my journey, because I think the market research part was the most difficult, is patience. No one has success overnight. I think, being positive, but being realistic about your business goals or career goals is extremely important, because sometimes when we set too many goals for ourselves for the year, and then we don't accomplish even half of it, as most of the year has already gone by, we beat ourselves up for that. Yeah. And, we never want to put ourselves in that position. And, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and, be like, oh my gosh, I want to just launch this already. But, I really do believe in slow and steady truly does win the race. It really does. And, taking your time and everything, especially with the surveys, I learned so much from that industry just by passing out the surveys. And, I'm like, well, cold calling isn't working. I'm going to have to go and actually go door to door, and, in that industry, people work very long hours. So I was like, sometimes it wasn't working when I just have them, drop it off and have them fill it on the spot, because people are so busy. And I was like, hey, why don't I drop this off for a week? And whenever you have time, whoever wants to fill it out, I would appreciate it, and, I would also offer them an incentive as well. And, they were pretty appreciative and cooperative and grateful. And, and that took as long as it did, because, not everybody says yes. And yes, and just because somebody says it doesn't say yes to you, that only means it's a no for right now. It doesn't mean that that's a no for the future. Right. So I just think that really having that positive mindset is just so important, and the willingness to learn. I think that's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah, that mindset is everything. And a couple of things that you touched on too is setting the goal, having that goal, not 12 million goals, because we can get overwhelmed. And that's one of the things that we talked about, and I talk about in my coaching, is have one or two goals that are in alignment with each other. Because when we diffuse our energy, we're not gaining momentum in any of those areas. And another thing that you touched on that I love, 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 love is it's not about getting the goal. Like, slow down, enjoy the journey. It's about who you get to become on the way toward that goal. It's about the growth that's attached to the goal, not the goal in and of itself. So I love that you are enjoying the process and have been enjoying the process of reaching that goal. And you are a different person than you were when you first started on this journey. So I'm so thrilled for you. And I'm thrilled for our audience because they're getting to hear your story kind of as it unfolded in real time. And I really want them to see themselves in you. I see myself in you. We're all connected. And this is a part of the growth and journey. And then the other thing that you touched on, and it's one of the key points that Napoleon Hill talks about in his book, Think and Grow Rich, in those steps toward persistence is, closing a mind off to negative influences that drain your energy. So you are keeping that positive mental attitude, but also having a group of like-minded people to support you along the way. You work not just with me, but with many people at different points along your journey for different aspects of what you were trying to do or wherever you were in the process. And so that is so incredibly important because things will happen, circumstances will happen. You'll get a no here, you might get a no there. But when you're surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded and who are guiding you along the way, those things kind of, you just take them as feedback. So you've taken them in a really just wonderful way, and you took it as feedback for learning and pivoting. And I love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, because if you're not learning, Laura, then we're not growing, and I think it's really important to evolve in the process as well. And you're right. I am a different person, and you're definitely not the first one to tell me that, that you can hear it in my voice. Like, I've had several people over like the past couple of months, tell me that. And I didn't really notice that at first. Yeah. I was just excited. It's always nice to wake up in the morning and look forward to your day and look forward to, checking off that list of, things to do, rather than, waking up to something that you don't want to do for the rest of your life. But I think it's just so important. Like, we should all, dive into our passion projects, because sometimes you never know, there could be something there.
Yes. And not only do you sound different, there's a lightness. I can see your light. You were beautiful before, you're beautiful now, but I can see it. You're just emanating light and energy. You said follow that passion project. You decided to leave your job and work on these, but a couple episodes ago, Mary Sullivan was on. She loves her job, and she was able to follow her passion for her book and her art, and also make a difference within her work. So, Aakruti, you are so right. It doesn't matter where you are. You have to make time for those passions and carve the time out for yourself to even allow yourself to dream and think, because every single one of you listening, you're worth it. And when you do that, you shine and people gravitate toward you. And just life is just so much more rich and satisfying. I'm so thrilled for you.
Thank you so much. And I feel like it's very contagious, right? Like somebody's positive attitude. I know I always gravitate towards people who are doing better than I am, because I always feel like I can learn from them. And, being around people like that inspires me even more. Even listening to, another entrepreneur story, the challenges they went through and how they overcame those challenges truly inspire me and really help me move forward. So even, sometimes, we have some days that are not as great as others. And, even just listening to somebody else's story, like, really pumps me up, and really gets me like back in the mood. I'm like, hey, it's okay. Today's another day. Today's a new day. Let's do the best we can. And it's really not about perfection. It's about practice.
Yeah. You just like, that's a quote right there. That's
Yeah.
a quote in a post for this episode. Well, so where you are now with your virtual styling business, you kind of described some of the steps that people go through. How do people get in touch with you? How can they start working with you?
Well, they can definitely click on the website link, or they can also email me as well. They are more than welcome to do that. And, let's get this conversation started. Let's get your outfit together.
It's so important because I actually had a certified stylist on a couple episodes ago, Annette Bond, and we worked together. That's how we found each other in a networking group. And it made all the difference in the world to me. And virtually, like, you can help so many people too by when entrepreneurs are traveling and whatnot. It made it so easy when she could put together a travel wardrobe of what I had in my closet that I forgot about, like a capsule. And it just made life so much easier. So I didn't have to think about those things. And you're going to see a person when they describe what they're looking for from a different perspective than they see themselves. So it's really an awesome thing. And it also shapes how you even see yourself when you allow yourself to be supported in this way. So your contact information, and I know you mentioned you want your email in there as well, reach out to Aakruti and definitely connect with her. It'll be a wonderful experience. I have no doubt. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience in terms of either working with you or just to help them kind of start on their journey of living their life's passions?
Absolutely. I would say make a list of things that you're passionate about and also a list of your skill set. Because sometimes when you look at those two lists, you can find a hidden talent that you didn't even know that you had. Sometimes I think soft skills are very underrated, and that could be something that could create a potential business idea, in the future. So that's something that I did, and it has helped me a lot. So.
Yeah, I love it. You're like hitting on all the past episodes of podcasts. We had somebody on here, Janica, who was talking about soft skills and in her line of work, and incredible. Yeah, you have no idea. There's so many gifts locked up inside of each and every one of us, and it's about allowing yourself to bring those to the surface and sharing them with other people. Well, Aakruti, I am so grateful that we spent this time together. I want to thank you so much for being on our show today. And I really am in deep gratitude, and I know our audience they've been inspired by you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Laura. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to end today's episode the way we always do, and that's in taking inspired action. And I think this is a great time for you to take some of the things that Aakruti said to heart. Think about some of those skills, those things that you do well, that you love to do. And think about where your curiosity lies. So I want you to, wherever you are, just take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale. Take another deep inhale and exhale. And last inhale, take a deep inhale, opening up any areas where you feel any tension and tightness, letting those areas expand with warm, healing light. And then exhale, just letting those places go. And I want you to imagine that there were no obstacles, and that you were doing the things that you only love to do, or that the things that you just light you up inside. Bring that image to your mind's eye of just you enjoying the fullness and richness of life. And maybe bring that image into focus and start to notice, what are you doing? Are you by yourself, indulging in your creative genius? Or are you connecting with people and a team and enjoying that co-created space? And as images bubble up to your mind, and if you have anything to write with, just jot those ideas down, those images. They don't have to make sense right now. Even get a sense of, when you're doing these things, how does it feel being you? Do you feel a sense of freedom and alignment? Do you feel more connection or joy? How does it feel to know that you are serving and living your life's purpose? Authentically being 100% yourself and sharing your gifts with the world. And just sit with that image for a moment. This is how the process of taking inspired action starts. And this is how you start to notice your intuition and your creativity guiding you. When you start doing exercises like this every day, you can start populating those lists of things that you like, skill sets that you have. You start to get ideas of, how could I bridge that gap? And then you start taking action. Just take one step. Follow that curiosity, and you'll be surprised and just so enthused with where it leads you. So I want to thank you once again for joining us for another episode of Rat Race Reboot. I want to let you know, and I'm super excited about this, if you've been following us for a while, my book, Rat Race Reboot, is coming out in the next couple of months. So you'll definitely want to go to ratracereboot.com. And on the right-hand side of that page, you'll see an area where you can subscribe and get more information about that book and all the freebies that come along with it. Also, leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and leave a written review. We read those, and I enjoy reading those, and we get feedback, and then, kind of craft our episodes moving forward based on that feedback. But until next week, remember, everything's created twice, first in your imagination and then in physical form. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.